afternoon, everyone. Anthony, Wall Street Trader, 1:50 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on January 2nd, 2023. Happy New Year's, and it's been a long time. I've been kind of out of it for the last year, kind of more focused in on stocks. I have a bigger position in stocks and equities, so handling that, managing the risk on those positions. I've had to lighten up a lot of load on the crypto world, but I do still own some, one included here. But we'll go into a little bit more on where I think Nucypher is going. This is really about Nucypher, so let's keep to that. In the meantime, this isn't financial advice, it's educational. Let's get straight into it. So, a couple of things that everyone should be aware of. Number one, Nucypher threshold. That's a big deal that happened in 2022. Now, this doesn't necessarily mean that, being in Nucypher or threshold as a trading vehicle worked out so well. In fact, if you look at what's happened, actually, Nucypher has outperformed Threshold in 2022. Couple of things regarding that. When you stop inflation on a particular cryptocurrency, generally that's very good for that cryptocurrency. Threshold was introduced to have inflation. Nucypher was too, but Nucypher had, at the point that Threshold was released, they stopped inflation on Nucypher and put that inflation and displaced it into T, which means Nucypher has a fixed supply. What does that mean? Well, you can have increasing demand and you're not going to have increasing supply. That's generally a good thing. Even if you have decreasing demand and a fixed supply, it's better than increasing supply as well. So Nucypher stood to benefit from that. In fact, back then on the conversion, when you wrap Nucypher to T, you only got 3.26 T. If you look at the trading differences though, on the current market values of these two cryptocurrencies, you'll see that one Nucypher could get you 5.32 T. So why wouldn't I just cash out and buy T? Well, yeah, agree. I think that conversion rate was a bit of a goof, but it was based on the prevailing rates at the time. So just so happened Nucypher did better because obviously you're not throwing inflation into Nucypher. But then again, you are getting rewards on T. So T's inflation is rising because you have to give rewards out, but you're giving it to the people but you're also giving it to those who have to stake it. And the downside to staking is you got to keep it in there for a while. Look, I'm not a big staker. I'm more of a trader. I prefer to deal with things that are easier for me to understand. So I like Nucypher better, just in terms of a trading vehicle. I'll keep it at that. Now let's just go straight into a couple of things. About a year ago, maybe more, when I was doing these videos, I came up to this slide. We talked about this, and this applies to every cryptocurrency out there, and I still stand by it. It's mathematically correct. So, Nucypher in dollars is equal to Nucypher Bitcoin multiplied by Bitcoin in dollars itself, and mathematically, it's absolutely the case. The mathematical representation is on the bottom half of the screen. But I call the Nucypher strength of Bitcoin the inner strength. It's a crypto to another baseline crypto. It's the core crypto Bitcoin that I'm comparing Nucypher with, and that's why I call that the inner strength. Benchmark being Bitcoin in dollar terms because I live here in the U.S. and that's how I invest in dollars. Anyway, let's move straight into the markets. Nucypher U.S. dollar. This was when we were talking for many many months, wondering when we were going to get our Christmas gift, and it came right here back in October of 2021. We popped, and now we have been in a 1 year downtrend from all the way back in October. It's been more than a year, almost a year and 2, 3 months, coming all the way down here. We haven't been able to bust through that line in one whole year. This is the longest downtrend we've had in Nucypher since Nucypher came out back in October, or possibly before that. But we're looking at the Coinbase exchange here. Now, we do have very few points when we were this low. In fact, you'd have to go all the way back to December, literally 2 years ago, to see when we were this low. And there's not many data points. It's sad to say. But again, we don't just go on to Nucypher US dollar to see this. We look at something else. This is what we just looked at over here. Now let's take a look at Nucypher Bitcoin because that's the pair that kind of gives us a little more visibility in terms of what is going on. So we're going to go over to Nucypher Bitcoin now. And we are pretty down here too, but not as bad as the Nucypher US dollar pair. This we've hit a few times over the course of 2 years. We've hit it here back in May of 22. We've hit it here when we were looking at this right before we blasted off. Um, we also had it here around July of 21 and a couple of points back here, very reflective of the period of time with Nucypher US dollar. Now, look, the bottom line is this. Where do we see a bottom? Well, it could be that the Nucypher Bitcoin pair levels off here. And by leveling off, I mean staying above this line. We could continue to go down. I think if we break this line, then we start following this yellow line here. But if we stay over this line, this particular line, then we could pretty much say we've got a bottom there. But right now, it's very hard to say. Look, I think we're going to be in a bit of a decline in the first 3 to 6 months. I think Bitcoin's going to have its challenges too. I see it rising right now. We might get a little Bitcoin rally, and we're going to talk about that. In fact, looking at our benchmark, which is over here on the right side, we're going to take a look at Bitcoin. Now, Bitcoin has been a big downtrend over the past year as well. Now, Bitcoin's coming all the way down here. Now we have this downward, not broadening wedge, we have a downward wedge. Generally bullish, but can't call that here. Now, this is my area of support. I think this is a nice, strong area of support for Bitcoin, which is 12,000. I think once we get to 12,000, if we hit 12,000, I think that's our brutal bottom. I think that we do have a good shot of starting to trend back up. But right now, we've been in this 16,000 range for about 2 months. And we kind of had before that another range here. We could have another leg down and continue down this way. But right now, we're at 16,700. You never know. We could make a comeback. Now, just taking a look at the overall altcoin litmus test, which is really the Bitcoin dominance world. It looks like we've kind of bottomed out around the relative pricing of Bitcoin with the other altcoins. In fact, here seems to be the area over the past since April, probably a little before that. We've had a kind of massive downturn, meaning altcoins were doing really much better than Bitcoin. And this was really when Bitcoin sold off. Now, I think this area here tells me we're consolidating. The relationship between the overall alt market to Bitcoin seems to be uh, kind of kind of connected now. So as this thing kind of waffles around, 4 to 5%, it's a good sign. I think we could be coiling up in terms of a possible Bitcoin rally, which is what we need to be our leading force back into bringing the rest of the altcoin markets to follow. So we need kind of Bitcoin to take off. That would probably start out by Bitcoin taking off, increasing its dominance or cap market cap relative to the other coins. And I think that would be a good sign. It is a leading indicator and the benchmark for cryptos. But in the meantime, this bad boy here is tough. I think if you were day trading this thing, you go in and you kind of you get out of Dodge if it goes below 780 here. I wouldn't be personally. I think there's other things you could invest in. Nucypher wouldn't be a spot right now. I would be watching it. I think you might get it at a better price point in the near future. But let's see the Nucypher Bitcoin pair looking kind of tight right around here. This might kind of stay the same. Bitcoin might drop a bit, creating some value for Nucypher right over here. If Bitcoin drops a lot and Nucypher Bitcoin stays the same, we could see Nucypher US dollar down in the 600s, which would be a good spot. Sorry, 6 cent period range. I think that would be a good place to start picking some up more aggressively. Anyway, I'm out. Have a good day, everyone. Take care.